Now I'd like, Chair, if you'll allow me, to say just a few words, if you like, on the bigger international issues. The reason I was at Edge Hill University today was to give a lecture to the students of journalism. My lecture must have been harsh on their ears. I told them that the British media had been as big a part of the invasion force of Iraq than any section of the British armed forces had been. By endlessly regurgitating and amplifying the lies of the government, they helped manipulate the British public into a disastrous war so cataclysmic that, as has been said by others earlier, it's almost unbearable to talk about it. Unbearable to think about the consequences of this great crime. I made the point to them that it hasn't changed, that the old adage of Claude Coburn, the great Irish journalist, that the journalist should approach it this way, that nothing is true until it's been officially denied. Instead of that, the mass media in Britain continues to amplify the government's lies, this time now about Iran. And I have a deep and serious foreboding that what happened to Iran is about to happen to Iran. And the same war drums are beating. The same lies are pouring forth. Incidentally, on the subject of lies, I don't know if you caught the news from the United States Senate today, which was an even greater day than my day there. Private Jessica Lynch, you remember her? Saving Private Lynch. How they said that they'd stormed into an Iraqi hospital during the war and rescued this poor girl from the fiendish claws of the perfidious Arab, who was probably even then contemplating her slaughter. They made movies out of it. They made magazine stories and books out of it. And today, Jessica Lynch went to the US Senate and called them systematic, deliberate liars. Nothing of what they said about her was true. She was only in hospital because she'd been in a car crash. Not only were the Iraqis not going to kill her, they saved her life. And in fact, the only danger she stood of being killed was when the US Marines started to storm the hospital to get her out. The brother of a United States football star who'd given up a glittering career in football to enlist in the American army and go and fight in Afghanistan, and who was killed, not by the Afghans, but was killed by the reckless, friendly fire of which we've had to become so well acquainted. But the US military, trying to divert, and I'm quoting his brother, attention from the atrocities in Abu Ghraib prison, said that he'd been killed by enemy action and elevated the entire episode into a heroic Hollywood story. His brother went to the Senate today and said all of this and more. Their lies which continued to cascade. What about the fiasco of the 15 sailors and marines captured by the Iranians in the Shatt al-Arab waterway? Apart from anything else, it wasn't exactly a thin red line, was it? I don't know what they did to the enemy, but they certainly didn't frighten me. the force which we'd sent to the front to confront the Islamic Republic of Iran. But when they were taken, Mr. Blair immediately announced from Downing Street that these sailors had unequivocally been in Iraqi waters. Although the admiral of the ship, he went further, he said they'd unequivocally been in British waters, which is stretching the atlas somewhat. A long time since they were British waters. But Mr. Blair said that these were unequivocally Iraqi waters. And the British media, especially the Bush and Blair Corporation, that we all pay for compulsorily through our license fees, trumpeted this to the country and to the world. Until up pops our old friend Craig Murray, the former British ambassador to Uzbekistan, sacked by Jack Straw for, and I quote from his dismissal letter, giving undue prominence to human rights to the detriment of British national interests, unquote. I'm not making that up either. That's why he was sacked. But in another life, before becoming Her Majesty's man in Uzbekistan, Craig Murray was the head of the maritime section of the Foreign Office. And up he popped to say that Mr. Blair was talking out the hole in an admiral's hat. There were no frontiers in the Shatt al-Arab waterway. There is no border between Iran and Iraq on the waterway. That's what they fought an 8-year war about, to try and define the boundary. There is no boundary. Therefore, no one can say that they were either in Iraqi waters or Iranian waters. What can unequivocally be said is that they were not British waters and that they shouldn't have been there. That can be unequivocal. And they told us, they admitted it in television interviews released only after they were released, that they were spying on Iran. For what purpose? Were they gathering intelligence on Iran? For anthropological purposes, sociological purposes, theological purposes? Were they working for the National Geographic Channel? They were gathering intelligence on Iran as part of the preparation for aggressive war against Iran. Now don't get me wrong, and remember you heard it here because it might become important one day. I have never been in Iran. I have never met an Iranian leader. I don't even like the Iranian regime. But if George Bush attacks Iran, I'll be standing with Iran. And I believe the mass vote.